Welcome back, guys, to the lair of Totem Wonderland. Back to do some more recording of the video game series. And guess what? It's daylight! I was able to find an opportunity to go ahead and do some recording here in the day, so I'm going to take advantage of it right now. So, if you couldn't tell by the stack, this time we have moved on to handhelds. We're up to Game Boy. Or back to Game Boy, I should say, because it's retro days. Anyway, real quick, I do have two Game Boy Colors, actually. Here's my original one, which, if you can see the color of it, it is a turquoise greenish colored one. Yeah, it's a turquoise colored one. And I also got it more recently, this was actually something my grandmother found, was a purple one. Really cool. I like purple, so it was pretty awesome that she found this. So yeah, that's my two Game Boy Colors. I didn't have the original Game Boy or the upgrade that it received. I think there was one that was called like Game Boy Mini or something like that. I don't remember. I'd have to look it up. But there was like a second model of the original Game Boy. But either way, I never had the original. Real quick too, I figured I'd show this off. I have something really awesome. And this is what I keep my games in. Pokemon on the cover. And if I can zoom this out a little bit, let me tilt the camera. Gotta catch 'em all! Anyway, this is where the console itself will go in at. Up top is where you'd store all your games in. Looks like you can't hold very many because of the flaps, but believe me, you can squeeze a ton in there. I also like to put some in the back. This is like a spot for manuals to go, but I actually have another bag that I just keep all my Game Boy manuals in. And real quick, I do have like a few games that I have the box to, like the box or whatever, like that it came in, the crappy cardboard that deteriorates over a few years, but I really can't get them right now because they're really in an awkward location. I think I'd bust my neck if I tried to get them right now, so hopefully nobody minds, but there's not very many games I have the box to when it comes to Game Boy, so I don't think it's a big deal. But let's go ahead and get started with the games. There's about 20 or so here, and right off the bat, they're tiny, so they don't take up much space on the desk at all. Let me straighten it out a little bit better. First one's in a clear cover case, so I'll go ahead and open it up. Here we have Tetris, which is pretty much identical to the NES version in terms of graphics and music quality and all that fun stuff. It's Tetris. I think everyone loves it. It's a very classic puzzle game, again, from Russia with love. Okay, here we have Game & Watch Gallery 3. This is like a modern version of the Game & Watch games, except on Game Boy format and in color. There's also a lot of Mario characters that are in the game, so if I can zoom in here a little bit better. I don't think it's going to focus that well. Focus. Okay, it's probably not going to focus too well. But you could probably tell, even without the focus, that you could see like Yoshi, Toad, Mario, Luigi, Peach, DK, all of them are in modern versions of the classic games. You can play the classics on here. But anyway, this is the third one. I don't have the first or second one, but this one's still fun. I like it. It was one of my more played games when I was growing up as a kid, so if that says anything how fun it is. It's arcade style, so you're going to rack up a high score. That's kind of like the goal of all arcade games. Next is Scooby-Doo Classic Creep Capers. You might have remembered this from the Nintendo 64. Main difference is graphics, obviously, but this one involves a separate mystery involving Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It was a very linear game. I wasn't crazy about it. Even as a kid, I thought, it really wasn't anything special. Here we have Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3. It's fun, it's short, but I've never beat it. I don't know why. I'll go back to it someday. It's pretty easy to play too. Like, I never had any difficulty with the Wario series. But yeah, I have the original. I just never beat it for whatever reason. I got pretty far into it too. I did beat this one though, Wario Land 3. I actually 100%ed this one. But this one was definitely a lot of fun. A big improvement from the first Wario Land game. I don't have the second game, so I really can't say either way if I like the second one or not. So I'm completely blind to the second game. That's just my childhood. I grew up with a weird number system, so sometimes I got all the sequels, sometimes I didn't. This is one of those cases where I didn't get all the sequels. Final boss on the third game is an absolute joke. It's like one of the easiest bosses in the world, but you know, the main game itself is definitely fun. So I do recommend Wario Land 3, even today if you can find it. It's a fun game. It's even on the 3DS eShop, I believe, so more ways to play, yay. Here we have M&M's Mini Madness complete shovelware game. Not fun, I don't recommend it. Here we have Centipede, which I don't know why the top label is upside down with the main name, but it's like diagonal. It's weird. It's just a arcade game. There's really nothing else to say about it. Very short. Men in Black, the series. I have not played it. And Powerpuff Girls Bad Mojo Jojo. This was just something I found in a box of random games that were part of like a buy that I got at a flea market, and this was just in the box. Not really into these kind of games, so it might be good, but I don't know. I've never really played it. I watched Powerpuff Girls even as a kid, but I don't know what to say if it's any good or not. So probably not, because typically shows or games that are based off of shows aren't usually that great. SpongeBob SquarePants Legend of the Lost Spatula. This was an okay game, so this is an exception to that. It's not that great for today's standards, but I remember as a kid I played it, so it was fun when I was younger. Today, not so much. Jim Henson's The Muppets. Yeah, if you couldn't tell, the past like 5 games or so was a shovelware stack. We're pretty much past all those, so rest assured the rest of the games are worth your time. Here we have Donkey Kong Land. I've never really played too much of this one, and I'll go ahead and get the next one, or the second one. Donkey Kong Land and Donkey Kong Land 2. I think these are like supposed to be like some kind of light version of the Donkey Kong Country series. Main difference though is the graphics, music, and all that stuff. And I think the levels might be different too. I'd have to play them to find out for sure. But these are like a cheaper version of the Donkey Kong Country games if you've never played those. Speaking of Donkey Kong Country, I have the Game Boy version of it right here by Rare. Well, the last ones were by Rare too. But yeah, this is the Game Boy version of Donkey Kong Country. The music quality sucked. Other than that, it was still fun. I mean, it's a port of it, so I enjoyed it. But I still recommend the Super Nintendo version. It's the superior. It was the original, and it was still the nicest. Okay, I'll go ahead and grab the next one, too. Because here we have The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Ages and The Legend of Zelda Oracle of Seasons. I've completed both. They're pretty good for being handheld Zelda games. This is the one that's more puzzle-oriented and is more challenging, in my opinion. So if you want a challenge, I do recommend going with Ages. Plus the main villain of the game, Veran, or Veran. I think it's Veran, actually. V-E-R-A-N is how her name's spelled. She's pretty badass, though. Like, a lot of people like her design. It is cool. She kind of reminds you of, like, an evil Sheikah, because she has, like, the Lens of Truth symbol on it. Or, like, the Eye of Truth on her outfit. And then the main villain on this one is, like, a Iron Knuckle called Onyx. Which, I heard people say they had a hard time beating the final boss. But I never had any trouble with Onyx, actually. I played through it fine. Even without, like, the beefed up rings that increase your power and defense and all that good stuff. But yeah, this one's more puzzle-oriented. As for Seasons, it's more action-oriented. So, like, if you like action, this is the way to go. Not really too heavy on the puzzles. It's a very more simplified approach. Between the two games, they're pretty equal, though, in terms of overall fun. So I don't really have a preference of favoring one over the other. They're not my favorite Zelda games, but for handheld, they were pretty decent. I liked them, though. And here is The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX. This is the one I hear people say is one of the best handheld Zelda games. It probably is. I played it, and I did enjoy it. I never got all the way to the end, though. I made it, I want to say, to, like, the 7th dungeon, and then just stopped playing for whatever reason. I think I was just, like, occupied with school or something. I don't remember. Something happened that kept me from playing it, though. But yeah, it's still a fun game. And Chain Chomp and Goombas, and there's, like, other Mario references, like Thwomps and stuff on here. Yeah, a lot of Mario references for some reason in this game. There's also a Yoshi doll, so if that's an incentive for you to go out and get it, there's your incentive. And last, at the very bottom, and I think you can tell by the coloring of all the games too, we're going to start with a very interesting one though. This is Pocket Monsters Green version. So this is Pokemon Green. This game came to America, and I'll grab the next one. I'm gonna put red aside for now. But here's Pokemon Blue version, which is what America got. These two games are identical aside from the sprite graphics for the Pokemon, but everything else is identical in terms of where the wild Pokemon are located, the trades you can do, all that fun stuff. But yeah, this is pretty much... Pokemon Blue is the English version of Pocket Monsters Green. America never got a Pokemon Green, so this is America's Pokemon Green right here. Now, Japanese Pocket Monsters Blue version, Japan's Pocket Monsters Blue, was the one that was completely unique, that had different Pokemon locations than what the other series did. So if anyone's like wanting to get a Japanese Pokemon game, I would personally recommend Japanese Blue, just because it's different from the others. That's the way I would recommend going. Like if you want to get a Japanese version. I mean, that's completely up to you. I'll go ahead and throw out there too that Japanese Pokemon, or not just Pokemon games, but Japanese Game Boy and Game Boy Color games are not region locked, so you don't have to worry about, you know, getting a specific Game Boy to play these. So that's just a tip I'll throw out there for you guys. But yeah, we also have Pokemon Red, which is identical to Japanese Red. Nothing's different about it. And then we have Pokemon Special Pikachu Edition, also known as Pokemon Yellow. So yeah, here's the pretty much all the first gen. I'll show them once again. Here's green and blue. So yeah, here's the full collection of all the Pokemon first gen games, where it all started. I can't talk. So yeah, all the Pokemon hype. First gen was so huge when it came out, and I was part of it. I would have been like 7, maybe even 6 years old when it first started. I think it was like in 2nd or 3rd grade though. It was big though. Like everyone liked it. Even people who like weren't gamers, they would get stuff from Burger King. There's like over 50 toys you can get from them. The gold-plated Pokemon cards exclusive to Burger King, with the Pokeballs that broke and caused people to choke. I still have one of those, by the way. But anyway, yeah, it was huge. Like, Pokemon cards, the movies, the anime, the games, it caught on so well, first gen. And it was definitely probably one of the highlights of my childhood, first gen Pokemon games. But then when it got to 3rd gen, I think as we all know, it got really negative backlash from non-gamers, and being called a nerd was offensive in the early 2000s and all that good stuff. But yeah, first gen is where the hype all started at. And then last, in the very bottom of my stack, on the end of my Game Boy games, I have 2 copies of Pokemon Gold. Go figure. We have Pokemon Silver here, and Pokemon Crystal. So these are the 2nd gen games. Also part of the hype, not as big as Gen 1, but Gen 2 was still well loved by many people too. And I do consider Gen 2 to be one of my favorites, because these are the ones I mainly grew up playing, because as I got older, Pokemon made more sense to me, and I was about 10 years old at the time when I played 2nd gen. Had a lot of fun with it, and like I said, I still love those games to death. Backstory on how I got Pokemon Gold, Silver, and Crystal. Well, the second one I got more recently, but just as a backup, because you never know when you need one. Because I had to change the watch batteries in some of these because the save feature wasn't working, and I lost some of my data, unfortunately. But anyway, Gold was a Christmas present, or birthday present. I can't remember. I think it was Christmas, though. Because these came out in October, if I remember right, and I begged my parents to get me one for Christmas present. I'm pretty sure it was Christmas. Yeah, because my birthday's in December, but yeah, I'm pretty sure I got it for Christmas. So that's how I got Gold, which was standard, you know, nothing special there. I got Silver from winning a potato chips contest. I opened the bag and I pulled out a flyer and said, it's like, congratulations, you have won your choice of either Pokemon Gold or Silver version. And it's like, oh, cool. So yeah, that's how I ended up getting Silver. Go figure, for eating potato chips, win a Pokemon game. And Crystal version, I happened to get because my uncle got it for me the year that it came out. So yeah, I got the Pokemon games in very miraculous ways, if anything. But that's the end of my collection. We'll go ahead and end it with Pikachu. Pikachu. Yay, cute. And we'll throw in Umbreon too. Because Umbreon's my favorite second-gen Pokemon. And probably one of my favorites overall. Oops, I forgot to add in a couple more games that I just got recently. These three right here. Let's go ahead and show them off quick, and then we'll end things for sure. Here we have Pokemon trading card game. So this was the glorious days of being able to open up Pokemon cards within a Game Boy game, and you would see the artwork from the original Jungle and Fossil expansion packs. If anyone's ever familiar with the original Pokemon cards, including the Charizard that's like really valued today, you'll find them exactly on here, and it pretty much plays the same exact way in terms of how the Pokemon trading card game formula works, and how you damage your opponents and use energy and things like that. This was a fun game now, and I just got it recently. And speaking of recently, this is The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. This is the original black and white version, and I showed earlier that I had Link's Awakening DX, which is the color version that has the additional dungeon and goodies like that in it. I just got this recently for the sake of being able to say I have both versions of the game. I found it and it was cheap enough, so I'm thinking, hey, might as well grab it. And last but not least, we got Super Mario Bros. Deluxe. I played a little bit of this when I was younger. A friend actually owned it and I got to play some of theirs. I'm not too familiar with what's changed in here. I mean, I believe Luigi's playable, but this is apparently like, I don't know, kind of like a, not really a remake, but just like a remaster version of the original Super Mario Bros. And it just has some added bonuses on it and different challenging modes that you can do. So, I'm not too familiar with it, but yeah, I have this in the collection now, and I'm probably going to play it because I am interested to see what the rest of it's like. Okay, that would be it for all of the Game Boy / Game Boy Color games, guys. I will see you guys in the next part. Peace!